Good morning, traders. Today is Monday, February 28th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. All right, well, what are we looking at here today in the market? Well, we're going to open inside of yesterday's range. Opening inside of yesterday's range increases the odds that the market is just going to chop this morning. It's just going to kind of grind up and down, trying to figure out what it wants to do. It's a little bit tricky to predict, looking at the market this morning, exactly what's going to happen. I could make a case for us to find support and get continuation higher. I can make a case for bouncing around inside this range, like pretty much kind of from here to here. I could see us bouncing around inside this range for a few days. I could also see us just starting to push lower today if we break these lows and start to get continuation. So I can kind of see any scenario for the market here. And also with the fact that we're so driven by the news coming out of Ukraine, I think it would be safe to say anything is possible this morning. So I'm going to take it one step at a time. The first step is observe the chop. Watch how the market trades for the first half an hour of the day. Does it seem like it has strength? Does it seem like it's building up support? It would seem like we're going to continue higher today. You can see the overnight found perfect support inside the node it created the previous overnight. So that's kind of a sign of strength. And then we moved the POC higher. So that's kind of a sign of strength. And then yesterday on Friday, we had a P-shaped profile. And we closed pretty much at the high of the day. So we did leave a poor high behind in need of repair up there. And so that's multiple kind of reasons to think there is strength in this market to get continuation higher today. But the first step is the chop. Do we find resistance when we try to push into the area around the point of control from Friday? So I'm looking at for resistance around 43.65, and let's see how the market reacts to that. Also below us, I'm looking for support at 43.10. If that breaks, 42.89. And just going to kind of sit here and watch how it bounces between those support and resistance levels and assess what the market is doing. Overnight inventory was net short, so we would expect a counter auction to the upside. Also worth mentioning. Good morning, Ned. Welcome to you. Cyrus is here. Diego, good morning. Donkey in the house, good morning to you. Broke your wrist snowboarding this weekend? Bummer. Well, that's good. Ronald, good morning to you. Diego in the house, good to see you. Scooball, hello to you. Laser Eye, good morning. Philip is here. Amir, welcome. Jason, good morning to you. David is here. Jay Trader, good to see you. Nor Auto Trader in the house. Dean, good morning to you. Ronald, did y'all watch the Shadow Trader Weekly video? I actually didn't this week. I almost always do. I forgot. What'd he say? Is the low in? It quite well could be. If you look at it on the daily, it would make perfect sense for us to go sideways here. Again, I talked about this last week. So much time is spent balancing in here in the past. I could see us bouncing around here for a couple of days, and then that gets us the breakout. I was expecting the same thing down in here. I thought, once we got down into this range, in here, I thought, oh, yep, we're going to have to spend a few days balancing in here, but we didn't. We immediately bounced up and out. So that's a sign of strength there. So that could be the low. Too early to tell, though. Still got to get through the resistance on the larger downtrend, you know? And, of course, with Vlad flirting with the idea of nukes this weekend, pretty much your technical analysis will mean nothing compared to whatever he says or does. This week, John Doe, good morning to you. Hustler, welcome. Happy to have you. Philip, NQ passed the overnight high. Well, that's bullish. Oh, yeah. They also spent a bit more time trading inside the yesterday's range, I would say, from the ES. Oh, no, I guess about the same. But all right, so right now the NQ is testing this big node that we left behind. They did not leave a poor high behind, but they're testing this big node for resistance here. If we're able to push through this relatively easily this morning, get above it, come back down and find some support, that is a really good strong buy for continuation of the new uptrend. If we're going to go sideways and just spend a few days balancing, we should find resistance in here. So it'll be an interesting little bit of data watching how it grinds through there. Okay, testing that overnight high on the ES as well. I do think we will head up and test that same node on the ES that we are currently testing on the NQ. Scooball, what about the gap between Friday's close and today's overnight open? Oh, this gap here? Yeah, you could consider that weakness. The space in there, like it needs to be backfilled. But it was in the overnight, so it's not as big a deal. And of course, we know why it happened, right? Because of the news that came out over the weekend. But yeah, that's noticeable. Still think the more important thing to keep an eye on, though, is the resistance. Can the market get back above this node here or not? That will tell us a lot. FRM, good morning to you. Ronald, it was interesting market profile info. I'll have to go check it out. 95 people in the room right now watching the market slow grind. Only 22 people pushed that thumbs up button. If you haven't yet, please smash the like. It's a great way to support the channel. It's a great way to say, hey, Charles, you should keep doing this. We like this. All right, so we have absorbed that overnight inventory, which was net long, right? Because most of the traders in the overnight were short. We were looking for a counter auction to the overnight. We got that, got ourselves back to the zero line. So got back to a neutral stance, and now sellers are beginning to pile on. So it looks like we're getting some resistance up here. And as always, if we don't have the buyers up here, we often have to pull the market down looking for them in support. So we've got this node from the overnight, the bottom end of which is at about 43.08. And we'll look for support in there to take another poke at the high. If it fails, if this support fails, look for support down here around yesterday's low in the 82 area. Ah, 46 likes. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Okay, same thing on the NQ here. Lack of buyers at the high means the market needs to pull back, looking for buyers at lower levels. First potential support is where we are right now, right around the opening price. If that fails, I would look for support around this big node from the overnight. So somewhere between like 14.10 or 14.010 and 13.970, somewhere between that area. And then if that support fails, then we test these lower, same as the ES, down there by yesterday's low, by Friday's low. But we should find some support up here. Let's see what happens. Back to the ES. Also, while we're watching the market just choppity chop around, it's worth mentioning, if you see the comment that I've pinned at the top of the chat today, today is the last day for 50% off the Market Profile e-course. So if you've been, watching my live streams for a while, kind of digging what I'm doing, still not sure if it's worth making a financial investment, to decide whether you want to commit more to it, you can join the brigade today. That costs $10, and that'll save you $60 on the e-course. And then you can literally buy the e-course and then cancel your monthly membership if you really wanted to. So something to think about. Today's the last day to get the e-course for less than $130. This is your moment. Okay, once again, resistance at the 0 line. We don't have the buyers. Need another pullback down into support. Looking to bring them in. Jay Trader just bought the e-course. Congrats, brother. Let me know what you think. Got the official recommendation from the donkey. Thank you, brother. Donkey says, get the e-course if you aren't profitable. Might as well give me the $60 and maybe I can help you change the way you look at markets rather than just give it to the market as further losses. There's something to that. Did I make the risk management video? I did not finish it, but I started it this weekend. So I'll definitely be able to finish it this week. Man, resistance still. Market really having a hard time breaking the overnight high. Oh, Malcolm, I appreciate that. Malcolm said, watched the course this weekend and got way more than $60 of value out of the videos. Well done. Well, thank you. Aaron, thank you. All right, do we finally have the buyers to get through this overnight high? The ticks say maybe. Maybe we need to get a big push from here. Nope. More resistance. All right, well, this resistance is pretty strong. And remember, the fact that we keep getting at that level, getting to the overnight high at about the same time we get to the zero line on the ticks, and they still keep pushing lower, that's a sign that those sellers are new sellers piling on up here. So we're either going to break the overnight high and squeeze them out very quickly, or they might win, and we're looking to go lower. The battle continues for resistance at the overnight high. All right. Breaking that overnight high, looking for resistance around 66. It's worth noting this isn't really a strong market. I'm not bullish on this. I'm just bullish that we have enough strength to test this resistance up here. But right now, this feels very rotationally to me. This doesn't feel strong. Greg, what do you mean by new sellers? Yeah, so there's two types of business that take place in the market. Every minute there are, I mean, of course, it's always a combination of the two, but there can be moments where there's generally more old business concluding itself, and then moments where there is new business beginning itself. So that is to say, most of the overnight inventory, right, was short. On the close on Friday, we closed up here, okay? And then when we opened down here. So there had to have been more people short the market than long when we opened this morning. There just had to have been. To successfully push the price lower, there had to be more shorts than there was on Friday. So that meant that we needed a counter auction to the upside, right? We needed to give those shorts a chance to get out of their trades if they're wrong, right? If the market starts to go against them, it starts going up, they're going to get out of their trades. The more of those shorts that cover their shorts, that's the same as going long, and it gives momentum to the upside. So we call that short covering, right? So because the overnight inventory was net short this morning, we expected old business to go long to cover those shorts. But when we see the resistance here at the overnight high, and we make note of the fact that they keep pushing below the zero line, we know that that is not just, running out of old sellers, right? That's not just everybody who went short already took profits. That is new sellers piling on. And for those new sellers to make money, the market has to go lower. So it just slightly increases the odds that they will push the market lower, because that's how they win. They take profits if they successfully push the market lower. Now, if they can't, let's say the new sellers that are piling in here, let's say they can't push that market lower, well, then they cause the pop higher when they cover their shorts, and we get our next round of short covering. So we're always asking ourselves, who is it doing business here? Is it old business that needs to get out of their trades? Or is this new business looking to make profits by moving the market somewhere? And right now, your guess is as good as mine who's going to win. Scooball, what do you think of a long at the overnight high as support with a goal to fill the gap? I wouldn't begrudge you that trade, but what sucks about it is there's really nowhere to put your stop, right? Like you got to kind of put your stop like all the way down here. So you're taking on a bit of risk. But certainly you could. And again, this is going to act as resistance. So I would almost rather, if I was in a long from here, I'd almost rather trail the stop necessarily than target filling up to this level. But we've got the poor high as well, so maybe they do need to get all the way up there and repair that. So is this much risk worth the potential of this much reward? That is the question. Okay, the B period just created a poor high. We often get a push away from the poor high, meaning the market goes the opposite direction. But then it increases the odds that at some point later we'll come back and repair that, getting at least one more tick higher. So we are looking for support on the push away. Also, it looks like we got that poor high at the exact moment that we hit the 20 moving average on the 15-minute candles for the NQ. And that is also giving us some resistance right now. Jeremy Jones, I am watching parts of the course, then going back to the archives and fast forwarding to find action areas, then pausing and waiting, then writing my trade down that I would have taken and then checking the results. That's a lot of work. I mean, you can do that in real time. That's basically what you do is you just do that with your trading in real time. But yeah, there you go. So what he's saying is like he'll go back and watch the archives, and when he sees, the market creates a poor high or something, he'll then come in and say, how would I trade this? Then push play and see how it plays out. That's good. It's doing your homework. Lahab says short here. I could see a short here. I could see that. We're getting that strong resistance. Can't get those ticks above the 0 line. But this could also just be the push away from the poor high. So I would really get short if we can, I really get bearish if we can break 32.29. Donkey, no, if you were going to short this, you'd put your stop right there at the poor high. And essentially the idea is the combination of the weakness, the lack of buyers, and the poor high in combination would be enough to cause the market to push lower. And then you'd get out as soon as they repair that poor high because they could keep going. All right, well, it feels like the market's getting ready to break lower. If the buyers are able to hold it up here, it would be by the skin on their teeth. And that would actually be kind of a sign of strength if they can hold it up here. But it feels to me like this is about to break. And we're going to need to pull back a little bit, looking for support. Again, first potential area would be 43.09-ish. And then if that fails, 43.88-ish. 87. But of course, if they do somehow magically hold us up here and then head back up and take out that poor high, that would be a sign of strength to me, that we would be looking to push higher. Because there are a lot of new sellers piling on here. Uh, 7-7 Athletic. Do you trade the H and D patterns or rising wedges? How much weight has it in your trading? Not me, but I'll leave that to the chat. Market's getting ready to break. Look for a little liquidation below that opening price. So I remain neutral, even though I do think we're going to get a bit of a pullback here, because I haven't seen who's winning yet today, the buyers or the sellers. Still feels like they're just in competition. So I am expecting any kind of pullback we get to find support within yesterday's range, within Friday's range. Just waiting to see where. Same deal for NQ. Man, they stopped right at the opening price. So yeah, expect a little bit of a liquidation down here into this support if we break that opening price. So looking for support around 14,000. Quick little poll just to, give me something to do in the moments while we're waiting to figure out who's going to win, buyers or sellers. Here this morning, where do you guys think the market will close today? Do you think we're going to close above Friday's range, below Friday's range, or inside Friday's range? Let me know. Okay, we've now got a poor low and a poor high on the market, a sign that this is just short-term traders picking each other's pockets. We would, of course, normally expect a push away from the poor low to the upside. If we don't get that and it immediately repairs, that is a little more bearish to see. But like I said, lots of support just below us. So I don't expect this to be a massive liquidation break, but I would expect some kind of break. $20 votes so far. Anybody else want to make a guess? Are we going to close above yesterday's high, below yesterday's low, or are we just going to bounce around all day inside Friday's range? You let me know. We got 104 people watching. 58 of them like what they're seeing. Only 36 willing to guess where the market's going today. Is there anyone out there? It is tricky. I'm going to tell you right now, in my mind, it's like 50-50. It could go either way. We got a poor high and a poor low. So what do you think? Let's get some groupthink going here. Higher, lower, or sideways? Where are we going today? All right, 42 votes. Let's close this poll and see what we get. All right, well, 60% of us are looking for rotation inside Friday's range. Only 20%, 21% think we're making new highs, and only 19% think we're getting below Friday's low. So we're mostly expecting rotation. It makes sense. It's not the craziest thing to imagine that after so much chaos in the market, we might go sideways for a day or two. But a case could also be made to head straight up and test this resistance. Looks like Bitcoin must have had a little pop this morning. Back to 40. All right, guys. Well, we are still just stuck in the middle, stuck between a poor high and a poor low. The buyers and the sellers fighting it out. The only insight I can leave you moving forward as we close out and head to the private stream here today is the idea of seeing what happens if we break the poor high and we test this node that's above us right here between 43.65 and 43.73. If we get resistance in there and cannot get higher and start to pull back down, that will be bearish, that we could potentially be looking to go much lower in terms of looking at the daily. So like that could be the sign. If we push up into here and we find resistance, that could be the sign we're going much lower. So at that point, if we do get heavy resistance in here, I'd look to short, targeting this area around yesterday's low, looking for support in there, and then see what happens if we don't find support, monitor for continuation lower. But if we do head up into this node and we're able to push through, I would then look for support in there to buy for continuation higher, as that would be bullish to me. And as long as we stay between this node here and this node here, my assumption is we'll just bounce between them. So with that, I bid you all farewell. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and we will see you here tomorrow morning. Members of the brigade, head on over to the private stream.